This is Hannibal here. It seems like the pressure is really getting to Rampage Jackson. He's released a statement regarding his son's assault. But before I get into the statement, since he talks about how brutal this alleged beer can smash was, let me just take a quick look at this. Here I am smashing the Sandman with a beer can. The beer can in wrestling is fake. Beer cans are empty. Here I am smashing Abdullah with a beer can. Boom, boom. That's a 60 something year old man. It doesn't hurt. So let's look at this. And it did he admitted it didn't hurt. Raja Jackson admitted it didn't hurt. And he accepted the apology. But let's get into this statement. This is from Rampage Jackson. This has gone too far. I'm sick of being quiet and letting all the low IQ people fall for clickbait. Yes, my son took things too far, and I'm pissed at him for being a piece of shit and the way he handled it. But if Psycho Stu wasn't drunk and wouldn't have hit my son over the head with a real beer can, just to stop for a minute, he wasn't drunk. He wrestled the match after that. How could you wrestle a match being as drunk as you claim he was? I've been a bouncer. He may have been buzzed when he did the beer can thing, which by the way, the other guy shouldn't have even been allowed backstage if he was that much of a mark, but he was far from drunk. Back to the Rampage statement. While he was live streaming on his stream, then Knox Pro wouldn't have felt like they had to make things right by letting Raja get his get back in the ring. If my son would have just went to police when the beer can incident happened, the whole event could have gotten shut down and he could have sued. But no, my son is not as smart as I'd like for him to be. Now my family and I are getting racist threats because of all the misinformation being posted. So content creators can get paid from viewers. People actually think my son just snuck in the ring in front of a live audience and picked Psycho Stu up without permission to be there. Get smart, people. It was staged, but Raja took it too far. He only shook his hand and accepted Psycho Stu's drunken apology because they said he could get in the storyline. He was told he could F him up. I have witnessed that this isn't the first time that Psycho Stu has done some drunk shit backstage to a fan. I've never heard of that personally. Now we have the backstory that my son attacked an innocent military vet with PTSD, like my son knew anything about the man that came from behind and hit him and then asked him to sell it. I have other kids to protect, and I don't take kindly to threats. I'm not scared of prison or dying for my kids, and calling me names won't hurt my feelings. My son should face the consequences for going too far. He knows better. That's why he didn't tell me anything about the storyline. But Psycho Stu is lucky I wasn't there when he hit my son over the head with a beer can that day after he got a concussion from sparring the day before. I wouldn't have cared if a bunch of pro wrestlers would have jumped me. I'm a father first. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. He keeps acting like the beer can was real. It was fake. And I don't think the police would have arrested him over that. I agree with him that Knox Pro, he's definitely trying to put the liability on Knox Pro, saying they gave permission for the son to be backstage in the wrestler's environment without necessarily informing everyone, hey, there's going to be a mark backstage filming. And then this guy fake hits him with a beer can, which he didn't sell. That's why the guy said, what, you're not going to sell it? He didn't sell it because it didn't hurt. What do the police go to arrest him for? Hitting him in a pro wrestling manner with a beer can? I mean, if that's the defense they're going to go by, sure. But the main thing about it was if he had attacked him there, that's one thing. As Shane Helms, WWE producer, said, if something happens in the back, you handle it in the back. A receipt in the ring is for something that happens in the ring. The company definitely set up Psycho Stu, and by the way, that company was at that time affiliated with WWE. They were a WWE ID company, they had WWE's stamp of approval. So the company is liable for allowing an untrained wrestler to get into the ring to settle a beef and actually telling the guy, go ahead and settle the beef. The guy took it too far, knocked out a bunch of teeth, knocked the guy out cold to where he was in the hospital for a week, which is way over the line for a fake wrestling can thing. And Rampage could say all he wants. Oh, I would have gone crazy if he'd hit my son over the head with a beer can. He's been involved. Rampage, I think, has had some wrestling matches. He's definitely been involved in wrestling. I don't know if he's actually had a full match, but he's been involved with companies like the Ultimate Women of Wrestling. I mean, he knows the difference between a fake shot and a real shot, and that was a fake shot to me. I mean, there's a big difference between Buzz and Drunk. And that's true. He didn't hit him from behind. He was face to face. Raja was looking for trouble. And also for the concussion, did they actually get a note from the doctor saying he legitimately had a concussion from the day before? How is Stu supposed to know that? And why is he going to a wrestling event, not telling people he's had a concussion and agreeing to participate? So there's a lot to be worked out of this situation for sure. Oh, there you go. Thanks. Rampage was literally in TNA. So he knows the difference between smashing a by the way, I've had both bottles and cans smashed over my heads, as well as whiskey glasses. You can see the mark on my head from getting smashed with a whiskey glass in a biker fight in a strip club I used to work at. And I can tell you a beer can doesn't hurt. So if you want to try to tell me your tough son that's 0-1 MMA gets hurt by a fake wrestling beer can, your son's a pussy.